Hey guys, how's it going? Today I want to talk a little bit about the Nokia N97 first. Now I don't have this phone with me right now because I don't think it's too interesting of a phone, but I do want to talk about it a little bit first before I get into the devices I'll actually show you. So the Nokia N97 was a smartphone that was released by Nokia back in 2009 that had a slide-out QWERTY keyboard, touchscreen, and it ran an operating system now known as Symbian 1. So Symbian 9.4, also known as S60 5th edition, also known as Symbian Carat 1, however you want to pronounce it. This phone came out, was supposed to compete with the iPhone at the time. Of course, it failed to meet expectations. It sold generally pretty well, but I think people didn't like how it actually worked. There's a lot of criticisms about it. The operating system was not that great, and it didn't have a lot of RAM. There's not a lot of free disk space. In general, it turned out to be kind of a failure. And then Nokia kind of made a better version of this device called the Nokia N97 Mini. So the N97 Mini improved on the N97 by offering double the amount of memory, 512 megs compared to 256 megs on the original N97, and a slightly smaller screen size, but also has slightly less weight and was smaller, more pocketable, better battery life. So in general, it was an improvement over the N97, but it was still kind of a failure compared to Nokia's original hype for the phone. So today I want to show you guys two devices that could be considered successors to the N97. So the N97 has a few successors, not just one. Alright, so this is the first phone that could be considered a successor to the Nokia N97, and it is the Nokia N900. This was released back in November 2009, and has a 3.5-inch display and 800 by 480 resolution. It runs MIMO, which some of you may remember. It was introduced on the Nokia 770 internet tablet, and then I did a review on the Nokia N810, which also ran MIMO, and this one runs MIMO 5, so this is kind of a continuation of the Nokia N810. So this phone could be considered both a successor to the N810, which wasn't really a phone, but rather an internet like surfing device, and a successor to the N97. The CPU is a TI OMAP 3430, 600 megahertz. It has 256 gigs of RAM, 32 gigs of internal storage, and a 5 megapixel autofocus camera with Zeiss optics, as Nokia often partners with Zeiss. And yeah, let's just go over the external features of this phone first. So if you look on top, there is a volume rocker. Oh, yep, if you look on top, there's a volume rocker, and then there's the power button right there. There's a camera shutter button for taking pictures. And on the side here, we have, I don't think this has a removable battery, but we have kind of a lock or a latch here. Not exactly sure what this is for. And then we have a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, which is always appreciated. And then we have a stylus here. I think this may not be a fully capacitive touchscreen. I think this is a resistive touchscreen. That's why we still need the stylus. And then on this side, we have the lanyard for your cell phone charms. And then you have micro USB charging. And we have a slide-up QWERTY keyboard. Many people consider this one of the best QWERTY keyboards on a slider phone. So you have that here. And yeah, we have the lens cover for the Zeiss right here with the flash. You can see there. And yeah, this is the Nokia N900, one of the last devices running MIMO before they upgraded to, eventually evolved into MeeGo, which is only on one device, which was the Nokia N9, and then that kind of evolved into Sailfish. But yeah, this is one of the last devices running MIMO, so let's turn it on. We are greeted with the standard Nokia splash screen. Right, it takes a while to boot up. Alright, there it is. All right, so this is MIMO 5. I'm going to use the stylus because this is a resistive touchscreen. OV, I think that's their maps provider that Nokia used. So yeah, here we have the apps, the MIMO apps here, which you might be familiar with if you saw my review of the Nokia N810. These are pretty much similar to those apps. With the old Facebook, old Amazon. We have a terminal here because it is based on, MIMO is based on Linux. So we do get a terminal. So yeah, the web browser, I'm not connected to the internet, but do want to kind of see how the MIMO browser looks like. So there it is. Yeah, so that's what the browser is like. And then, yep, we have the multitasking menu option right here. And then we do have the latch here. Actually does lock the display. So that's what it's for. And then let's check the media player here. Music, we have some preloaded songs, so let's check this out. Is there anyone that we know? I don't think I know any of these people. Emo, let's try that one. Magic words, okay. So this is what the media player is like. Turn the volume. So the speakers are, yeah, it's stereo speakers, so it's better than a mono speaker. Yeah, so it's stereo speakers, which actually some phones to this day still ship with a mono speaker, like the Samsung Galaxy S8. So it's actually, yeah, the Galaxy S8 I had from a few years ago still shipped with a mono speaker. This one, stereo speaker, so I guess the sound is decent, especially for the time. But yeah, that's the music player right here. Turn on shuffle, repeat, next track. So that's your MIMO music player. Video clips. We have a few video clips. Let's look at the N900 video clip. Get to watch an advertisement of this phone within the phone itself. That's what I call effective advertising. How come phones these days don't ship with advertisements of themselves anymore? Like back in the day when you looked at a PMP or a phone, you know, they ship with preloaded video clips of their own advertisements. Like, it's kind of cool to have that. I know it's just bloatware, but yeah. Look at everything you can do with the Nokia N900. So cool, guys. No, this device is over 10 years old now. Yeah, the old Nokia ringtone. Do 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 do. Oh, so classic. I'm kind of miss that, you know, because Nokia is not popular anymore. Back when Nokia was king, you used to hear that ringtone like all the time. All right, so this is the internet radio stations. You can browse for that. Of course, I don't listen to that. So that's the media player. And then, so this is the main kind of interface right here from MIMO 5. This is the PIM stuff right here, the calendar. And let's look at that. So yeah, that's your standard agenda stuff. You can create a new event. Title, where, all day event. Yeah, so that's your standard stuff there. What else? We'll go back to the, yeah. There's the contacts, right? And then there's email. Nope, you gotta set up your SMTP probably to use it. Okay. And then there's phone. Oh, I should load in portrait mode. This dialing pad. Right, so you can dial a number using the resistive touchscreen here, using the stylus, or you can use the keyboard to do it, in which case it'll switch to landscape mode, and then you can dial from here. So yeah, it's your standard phone. And then there's the OV store. Yeah, obviously that's not gonna be active anymore. And then I think you can put more widgets here. This is actually kind of ahead of its time, MIMO, because this is basically what Android is now, or what Android was derived from, because Android is also kind of Linux based, right? So now if you look at obviously modern Android is better than this, but this kind of looks like Android like 2.1, 2.2, 2.3 ish, right? So you can tell that Android definitely took a lot of inspiration from MIMO and WebOS, I would say. This looks like a Safari icon, but it's actually Maps. But it looks like a green Safari icon, doesn't it? Yeah, so OV, Maps, and it's a kind of a Nokia thing, and I never really used OV back then, so I don't know how good this is. I remember the maps back then were TomTom, Garmin, Navigon. I think those were the, well, I mean, before Google Maps, I mean, those were the navigation kind of manufacturers. Man, Garmin and TomTom and Navigon and those companies, they must be losing a lot of business to Google now. Yeah, so that's your maps here. I think it came, this is a European phone, so it comes with a European map loaded, so you can see France and Italy, Germany here. Yeah, so in case I want to go to Europe, I can do this, but it's probably not going to be up to date. Yeah. So the GPS is not going to work, I think. All right. Get directions. You can even do that. Yep. Okay, so this is pre-Google Maps. Yes. I shouldn't say pre-Google Maps. Google Maps was available back then. It just wasn't a big thing on phones yet at that time, because Android in 2009 was just starting to become really popular. All right. What else can we do? Yeah, this is the photos. So it did have some sample photos in here, so we can take a look. What can we do here? Wow. Okay, some abstract art. Amazing. Paper airplane. Can I? Oh, I can't pinch to zoom. This is a resistive touchscreen, so I can't do that. You can do like, yeah, standard stuff, crop and rotate from within the app, but yeah, it's a resistive touchscreen, so there's only limited amount of stuff you can do with the photos here. Okay, just very abstract wallpapery stuff. All right. There's a camera, which isn't going to be. Oh, I have to open the lens cover. Okay. Okay, so this is the camera, and put a subject here. Yeah, obviously this camera isn't very good. It might have been okay. It's 5 megapixels, so this might have been this megapixel. I wonder if this is the same sensor as the Nokia N95. They haven't really improved it much since the N95 came out for a few years after that, I think. So it keeps using the same 5 megapixel Zeiss sensor, but yeah, this is your standard controls, and you can see how the MIMO camera app looks like, but autofocus, flash, you can adjust some things about it, but that's about it. So nothing to write home about the camera. It's the standard 5 megapixel Zeiss lens that you've seen since the N95. The N97 probably had something similar as well. And then conversations. I wonder if this is just SMS, right? I can't understand this. This must have been a preloaded message. World clock? Let's look at the world clock. There we go. So we can add a new world clock. Yep, so that's what the world clock looks like. I always like to see the world clock because I can look at the globe. And then calculator, I always like to play around the calculator as well. And yep, it's basic calculator stuff. Notes. Okay, here's where I want to use try out the QWERTY keypad. Hey, I'm writing. Oh, there's suggestions here. I like that. On a Nokia N900. Yep, it's pretty good. So yeah, I want to say this keyboard is like a BlackBerry keyboard or anything, but it's definitely one of the better QWERTY keyboards I've seen, especially from that time. Yeah, it's pretty accurate. Decent amount of travel and tactile feedback. Another thing is the controls. I like that the controls are pretty close together and pretty intuitive for you to use. And like a lot of the other Nokia QWERTY keyboards, I guess, on the other phones, if you're migrating from one of those keyboards, then this layout in the shortcuts should be pretty intuitive for you to look at. But yeah, that's not a bad QWERTY keyboard. Definitely for the time, I think it's better than a lot of the other QWERTY keyboards from that time period. I think like the Xperia X2, the HTC Touch Pro 2, I think this one is better than those. Do you have any sample PDFs? Oh, we do. We have a MIMO software copyright. This is not going to be pretty. This is going to be pretty dry stuff, but at least we have a sample PDF here. Yep, that's a PDF document. 78 pages of MIMO copyright. Dang. Look at all that legalese. Dang. Alright, well, I gotta say that legal jargon is probably the most dry stuff ever. I don't know how lawyers do it, but that's probably why they're paid the big bucks to go through all this legal jargon stuff. That would probably make me fall asleep. Alright. What else? File manager here. Your standard file manager. It's nice they preloaded some stuff here. Cities. What's this? Oh yeah, that's the maps. It comes with some maps preloaded as well. That's where we got the European maps from, probably. RSS, Sketch. I wonder if this is like a paint program. Whoops. Yep, so that's your paint program right there. Blocks, this is a game. So it's like a Tetris type of game here. Let's try it. Landscape mode. Or portrait mode, rather. Oh, okay. You can just use your stylus to do stuff. Okay. That's pretty easy, I guess. Okay, so this is just Tetris. Your standard Tetris clone. I think they had chess as well. I saw chess. Mahjong as well. Marbles. Let's look at this one. It's like a labyrinth type of game. Okay. Oh. I'm not exactly sure how to play this. Are you supposed to make them bump into each other or what? Not really sure how to play this. But anyways, there's some preloaded games on here. Yeah, chess, mahjong, marbles. All this stuff needs the internet. Docs to go, actually. Oh, you need to download it. Okay, it's just a shortcut. Preparing for installation. But I think I need to be connected to the internet, yeah. It's not like it's a preloaded package for me. Okay, and lastly, let's just try out the terminal. This is a standard Linux terminal, right? So I can do this. I can see all my running processes, right? Or I can do pwd, see the working directory. Yeah, okay. Well, anyways, Linux commands work. There's a terminal here, so that's always cool. Comes built in. But yeah, that's the Nokia N900 with MIMO 5. You can see all the apps here. This is really old Twitter, really old Facebook. You can see the, yep, you can see the splash. You can see the thumbnails. You can tell from the thumbnails they look really old. But yeah, that's the Nokia N900, which was a phone that you could consider to be one of the first successors to the Nokia N97. And I say that because there are a few successors. So this is just one of them. This is actually also the successor to the Nokia N810. And it's also one of the last MIMO devices. So it's a pretty interesting device, Nokia N900. And I would say the keyboard definitely improves upon the Nokia N97. So there's that. Alright, so this next phone that I have is the Nokia E7, and it could be considered another successor to the Nokia N97. So the other direct successor to the Nokia N97 after the N900 it could actually be considered the N8. And the E7 is basically the N8, except it has a QWERTY keyboard attached to it. So that's why I don't have the N8 here. This is because this is basically the N8 with a keyboard. And just go over the specs. This was released in 2011, which is later than the N900, which is why I did this one second. But yeah, the specs all around are better than the N900. It has an AMOLED display. So the N900 had a TFT display. This has a OLED 4-inch display, bigger than the 3.5 on the N900. 360 by 640. It's running Symbian 3 or Symbian Carrot 3, however you want to call it, upgradable to Nokia Bell. So this is the new initiative by Nokia was the Symbian Carrot 1, like I said, on the Nokia N97 to better compete with touchscreen smartphones. And the Symbian 3 was their latest iteration before Nokia kind of got bought by Microsoft. So they Nokia was kind of doing a bunch of things at the time, right? So they were going down a few different operating systems. They were trying out and experimenting with a lot of different operating systems on different phones. So the N900 had MIMO, which later evolved into MeeGo, the N9, which is also trying to compete with Android and iOS. And then on the other hand, Nokia also kind of tried to upgrade their Symbian OS as well to be more up to date. So they rehauled their Symbian OS to Symbian 3 and to also try to compete with the iOS and Android. They were trying like so many things at the time. None of them really worked. So eventually Microsoft bought them, unfortunately. And that's kind of when Nokia just, yeah. Sad story. But anyways, CPU 680 Hertz, ARM 11, 256 megs of RAM, 16 gigs internal storage. The camera here is an 8 megapixel camera, so definitely an upgrade over the 5 megapixel on the N900. And yeah, let's go over the externals of this phone as well. So we have a similar kind of switch right here, which I'm guessing will also be a lock switch, just like it was on the N900. And then we have, this is the SIM tray right here. So I like that you can just pull it out with your fingers. Don't need any type of special tool. This is the camera shutter button. I always like that Nokia put dedicated camera shutter buttons. So again, on the Nokia N900 you have that as well. And then on the E7 you also have that. And then the lanyard for your cell phone charms. Again, you don't really get this on phones anymore. And then you have another switch. I'm not sure what this latch switch is. So there's two of them. I don't think this has a removable battery, so I don't know what this one is. Micro USB, again, just like the N900, and on button right here, and the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. And the N900 slid up for the QWERTY keyboard, so it's a direct slide up. This one is more like so just like my T-Mobile Sidekick video, I looked at a few different sidekicks. One was a slide directly up, the other was a tilt and slide up. So this one's a tilt and slide up. So they try a few different ways of opening the keyboard up here, and quite a roomy keyboard here, I think. Actually, I forgot to mention there is a home button right here, and there is actually a flap right here. And if you lift up the flap, there is actually looks like a mini HDMI connector, which is quite interesting because, well, how many phones have you seen with an HDMI connector, right? This might be the first one that I've seen. I haven't seen many phones with an HDMI connector, so that's really cool. This has a mini HDMI connector there. Unfortunately, some very sad news is that I couldn't get this to turn on, and this is the second E7 that's died on me. I tried holding in the power button, and it makes this this sound, like this buzzing sound, like it's turning on, but nothing actually happens after that. And I tried everything. I tried looking up how to hard reset it. I tried holding this down for like 15 seconds, and then I hear like a longer buzz, but nothing actually happens after that either. I've tried leaving it charging for a very long time. Nothing's happening, and it's sad that this E7 basically just booted up once, and that was it. You know, other older phones that I've had, at least they will boot up, right? Like older Nokia phones, I've, done reviews of the E70, like my Motorola V70 from 2002, all the way from 2002, like even that still boots up once I have the charger plugged in, right? So I would expect the E7 battery to be good enough to at least boot up when I still have it plugged in, but it doesn't. And that's really sad. It basically just booted up once, and then it died after that, and I wouldn't boot up again. So it's really sad, and this is the second E7 that has died on me. The first one died on me the exact same way. I tried charging it up, and then the operating system would boot up the first time, and then it would just suddenly die, and then I can't get it to boot up again after that. So that's really sad. Don't think this has happened to me in any other phone. It's really just this phone, E7. This is the second one. I've got a replacement, so I'm probably not going to get another one. I'm kind of tired of getting these replacement E7s just to have it die on me the second time I try to boot it up. So yeah, that's unfortunate. I really wanted to show you guys the Symbian 3 interface. But I guess I will show you guys an old video that I made before about Symbian 3 running on the Nokia E7. And in that video, I do a comparison against the N9, which I had at that time. So you can see what I did there. I didn't go too in-depth into the operating system, unfortunately. And I kind of stopped when I tried to use the web browser. But at least you guys can see what Symbian 3 was kind of like. It was a much smoother interface than Maemo. It's a much more modern interface. And honestly, it looked a little bit like a predecessor of Android, really. Or it looked really similar to the Android interface of the time. It was pretty smooth, but obviously wasn't good enough to take down Android and iOS. So anyways, here's that video. And this is Symbian 3. So this is the it should be the latest Symbian operating system before they switch to Windows Phone. This is Symbian 3. It's actually pretty zippy. Yeah, interesting. And call someone. What can you do on the phone here? Oh wait, what am I doing? Is this even a touch? Okay, yeah, I was using the stylus. I forgot this was a resistive touchscreen. This is a capacitive. So I have to use my hand for this. So this is a very primitive phone thing, dialer thing, and then you have all your menu buttons right here. The bottom left. You can add a widget or a shortcut or change wallpaper. It's actually fairly zippy. I'm really impressed. This is 5-year-old phone, I guess. So the thing is, Maemo and actually Migo, and this was being developed at the same time. Symbian 3, it was actually used in the same year. This both came out the same year, 2011. This one is more old school Nokia style, whereas this one was kind of based upon Maemo, which is the newer Nokia style. Okay, but this is pretty swift as well. I mean, you got, well, this is actually pretty cool. Do you have anything in the gallery? We do. You can take a look at all this, photos. Pretty snappy, actually. I'm really impressed. Pretty snappy. I didn't expect it to be this fast. I mean, if you look at the Maemo one, this one was pretty slow. And this one actually has, this one has double the memory, maybe that's why. Maybe a better comparison would be the N900. The N900 versus the E7. I haven't tried that one yet, because I don't have the N900 right now. But maybe someday I can do that comparison. Am I connected to the internet? I should be, right? Yeah, let's try. So how does contacts look? Nope, it's not very good. Calendars, basic stuff there. Music player. Oh, search for music. Okay. Ooh, you have cover flow. That's interesting. I did not expect cover flow in here. Okay, cool. I guess we get a very iPod-like cover flow here. That's cool. Okay, so let's see the web. Does the modern web work on this? Alright, so I'm going to go connect to Engadget here, as usual. With dot Engadget. Alright, this is not the most comfortable QWERTY keyboard I've ever used. Okay, so we got the certificate problem already. Can we accept? Accept. Okay. Okay, we have this certificate problems. This is a sign of an old browser that probably doesn't work with modern websites anymore. Okay. So otherwise you're going to have these SSL certificate problems because the browser is not modern enough. And it's still loading. Okay, it's somewhat viewable. I mean, once you get past all those certificate errors, I guess it's somewhat usable, but man, dealing with those things is a pain. Alright guys, and that's the N900 and the E7, two devices that could be considered successors to the N97. It's too bad I couldn't get the E7 working, but I do have an older video that I showed you guys, so at least you can see some of it in action, I guess, before everything died on me. One other thought is I didn't actually get to use this keyboard in that video for typing, but just from using this right now, I can tell that it is, in my experience, I think it's better to type on than the N900 because the keyboard is not as squished. So you can see the N900 keyboard, and this is a widely praised keyboard. It's a little bit squished, right? Although a lot of people like it. The E7 keyboard is not as squished. It's more, there's more spacing between it, so I feel like it's more comfortable to type on. So I'm just trying to type in some common phrases I would choose to use, and yeah, I think this is the symbol button. This is the shift button. Oh, no, this is the symbol button. This is the alternate button, and this is the uppercase button. So yeah, I think it wouldn't take me too long to get adjusted to this to this keyboard. I think the E7 keyboard is a pretty nice one. And the way that it tilts up and reveals the keyboard kind of reminds me of the T-Mobile 4G, also known as the Samsung Sidekick, or the HTC 7 Pro, which I did in a video a long time ago. That's some other phones that have used the same kind of slider mechanism. But I do like this keyboard actually better than the N900, the E7. It's just too bad that this phone is so faulty. Like, wow. It's not charging right now, right? So if I try to put it back, to put it back in, now it starts charging again, but it's never going to actually charge to full, and it's never going to actually boot up, even if I leave it in charging for like more than a day. So yeah, that's unfortunate. But yeah, I do like this keyboard a lot, and the slider mechanism is actually pretty cool as well. Unfortunately, there's some issues with this phone. I got this from China, and it was pretty much brand new in the packaging, so I don't know what's going on there, because most of my retro phones that I get are from eBay, and they usually get shipped from China, and this one's the exact same. This one, the reason you see some black stuff in my hands is because when handling this phone, it seems like some of the black, I don't know what it is, paint or something like that, started to rub off on my fingers. So I don't know, that's another problem with this phone, that I haven't experienced this with any other phone. First of all, this phone dies. I mean, it's the second one to do that. And second of all, yeah, I have no idea why the paint residue is starting to peel off on my fingers. I don't know. Something's weird. Something's up with this phone. But I mean, the phone itself, the E7, I like it. It's just maybe I got some really bad models 2 times in a row, I guess. I don't know what's going on, But yeah, this model won't work for me, and it's making my hands extremely dirty just handling it. So that's unfortunate, because I do think that this phone, when it's working, is actually pretty cool. So that's it, guys. That's the E7 and the N900, both two really cool Nokia devices. And it's too bad, soon after the E7 was released, Nokia was taken over by Microsoft. And actually, soon after the E7 and then N9 was released, Nokia was taken over by Microsoft. And now Nokia is still going. They're still releasing phones. Obviously, they're not the same as they were back then. They're not quite as much of a juggernaut. Nokia, like, they used to be the Samsung, I would say, of the phone world, right? They were a juggernaut. So it's kind of sad that after these phones and getting taken over by Microsoft, they pretty much just fell off the radar. Just like Motorola, just like BlackBerry, just like HTC, just like Sony. It's too bad. I feel a little bit sad that so many of our childhood phone brands are dying, and pretty much now it's just Samsung, Apple, and a bunch of Chinese brands competing in the space, which is I don't know, that's sad to me. I don't know how you guys feel about it. I know the smartphone technology is evolving and all that, but just to have these old brands just come and go like that, just, it makes me sad. Yeah, and now it's all just taken over by Asian brands plus Apple now. So anyways, guys, that's it. Leave me any feedback, and as always, thanks for watching.